A slow regression of
just
hair.
show up that like you watch 2 episodes or something. The next episode, I'm just there and I've got no.
People
hair.
might just think you like reinventing yourself, though. It might just be like, you know, you could have come in and the next one with like a wig on or like a nice hat.
Every episode, I'm doing something weird with my hair.
Yeah. To everyone else, you could present yourself as vaguely interesting.
Yeah.
Wear a shirt. I remember you through your well, I was going to say your Polish tracksuit phase.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd still say I'm almost in that.
You've seen me, though, through some absolute fantastic...
Yeah.
Do you remember, school...
Well, yeah, you were grebe. Does anyone even still use that term?
Don't even... I mean, this is the thing. It was townies before chavs.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had... Grebos, moshers. Yeah, I'm sure there were more, but Grebos, moshers.
Who knows?
I can't say.
Do you want to intro this podcast?
Well, I mean, I suppose we should, but we haven't got a name.
No name.
I mean, considering how long we've talked about doing something like this, but let's be honest, the world doesn't need another podcast.
I'm just gonna
2 privileged white dudes talking about shit they don't really have a fucking clue about.
True. I'm just gonna mouth fish noise, mouth motion,
swinging.
And then go
Insert
robot
name
voice.
here.
So yeah, that's
welcome
that's
to
yes.
Dogs Can't Look Up.
Yeah, the podcast.
Yeah, we've done it finally after many.
Well, COVID obviously killed off our,
we haven't seen each other until like
it was like 3 years.
I had a baby in that time.
You got pregnant and had a baby.
I have,
and I missed the whole. Actually,
I wasn't even responsible enough to like stir a risotto and then I have a child, and it's like boom child.
From how sick you said the pregnancy made you, I'm kind of glad I missed.
I was so miserable.
As empathetic as I am.
I just remember so many times as well, because like the first lockdown, I was so pregnant and I just couldn't go out or do anything, and I was just vomiting all the time. Like I had hyperemesis. Which is just where you're sick constantly. Like morning sickness is a fallacy. It's a lie. You're just sick all the time.
All day sickness.
I just remember standing at the window like a Scottish widow, or like that Kermit the Frog meme, like sad. I can't go out. I'm sick. But yeah. So I've had a human life in the time that
it's wild. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and you've lost your hair.
And I've lost my hair, but that only happened like 2 weeks ago.
Because of stress. I mean, just general stress of everything.
Yeah, the world. Which
it is. I mean, I suppose it's best that we've waited. I mean, the universe has I mean, this is part of it.
I mean, 3 years locked in.
Number one.
Yeah,
sign
number one. Yeah, okay. I'm not putting a sigh counter on this.
Well, no, because I thought you were sighing because I said about the universe. So this was going to bring me nicely onto my point, which is the reason why we've always laughed and been like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if? Because obviously I'm like, oh, the universe and and I just, my thing is like, what if? And you're very much an empiricist, and you.
Yeah, I'd say like 80% of the way.
No, I remember you being like, you're like, I'm not spiritual. Like, there's nothing spiritual.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not spiritual. You'd have to prove something to me, really, for me to actually believe it. I don't care what you believe in or anyone else does.
So, but remind me, what do you think happens when you die then, for an example? Straight into it. We didn't even do the introduction.
No,
boom.
Or even talk about what we're going to talk about.
Well, we don't even know what we're really going to talk about, but I think this maybe segues us nicely into, because you're, like I said, you're the empiricist. You like to so
in my eyes, when you die, see. I mean, there's so much. This is so. How deep do you want me to go immediately?
Just chuck yourselves in. Chuck us in.
Obviously, there's no proof of a soul or whatever like that.
They're starting.
So I don't know what happens to your like consciousness once you die. Ooh. Your physical body obviously goes back to the earth or whatever, and an atomic level.
So would you say you're like a Lutheran, where you believe like this? When you die, that's it. Blackout, like end of The Sopranos. Boom, done.
Yeah, because I don't know anything else, and
because they are starting to, the scientific community, as it were, are starting to look towards consciousness now, because like you have like that sort of Jungian idea of like a collective.
Yes, yeah, and I'd love for there to be. See, this is my thing. I'm strictly scientific with like my beliefs and whatever. And, well, yeah, with beliefs, I guess is what you say. But I'm not opposed to there being like, if I die and it turns out, my soul goes somewhere and something, I'd be happy. I'd be more than happy to be like, actually,
so
there is
like,
something.
You're a pessimist because you don't want to allow yourself to like hope that maybe there's
Oh god, we're fucking psychoanalyzing you already. Jesus Christ.
No. I mean, realistically, who knows? But it's I've like I said, it's interesting that we're doing this podcast now and I've had children, because I would say, with regards to the stuff that you read about children having these like,
I know what you're going to bring up.
Saying like weird stuff or like having like really like visceral like
memories of things from their past
like
lives.
Some of it, like I was reading on Twitter this thread, and it was like the weirdest stuff children had said, and one of them was like, "Mummy, please don't put me in the bath. That's where I died last time." And like, there's I've got a really bad habit. It's the only thing I end up using Facebook for now is those stupid like news sites or whatever that and they're just Reddit posts where it's like 25 crazy like Buzzfeed, and they're like it's like clickbait,
and it's just full of ads, the whole thing, and there's like a one
and you
paragraph.
Don't know what you're like, where am I clicking?
And all it is
and you end up on like 25 botched celebrity face right. You're like, how have I ended up here?
It's just copy paste from a Reddit thread or like Reddit like subreddits. That's all they are, and then they just fill the page with ads, and you have to like scroll through looking for the number one to read the like 2 sentence thing. Yeah. Whereas if you knew what subreddit it came from, you could just go there. But I actually read through one of those about the same kind of thing. Like, and there was like a kid that was like, I remember they were walking down the street and he was like 4 years old. He's like, I remember when that was a cobbler's, and they'd never been to the town before. And it turned out that the town, literally 40 years ago, that was the cobbler's.
Honestly, there's loads of mad stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Go down that.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I think we should actually. I'm going to cut you. Talk about why we're doing the podcast. Like,
do we even know?
I think we said for years it's like, we should record this, like, because this isn't like a thing that we're doing to make a podcast. This is a thing we would be doing and not recording it.
Yeah, we do this a lot, and I think it's because we've known each other for so long.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I suppose, is because we're so like close in terms of our friendship, but in so many ways, like diametrically opposed in terms of our belief system, and like, I do tarot and you're like, and stuff like that, or like astrology.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that you think is all fantastical and whimsy.
Yeah, I guess people will come to understand our feelings on things as we talk about them. The thing is,
our friendship is based on very much, we don't have a fucking clue what we're talking about most of the time, really. No.
But we like to bounce our own thoughts on things and beliefs on things off each other.
Often we will be quite ignorant. So if this is going out, I think part of the reason we are together, because we want to be but it's important that we're doing this to be corrected, I know it's not up to us to be like, oh, please correct us, like, because it's up to us to go out and rectify our ignorance or our lack of knowledge or understanding, and that is what we do for the most part.
100%. Yeah, this is the conversations we're having are going to be people seeing our initial thoughts on something before we've even done research a lot of the time.
I dread to think what I'm going to fucking say. Oh God, I just need to apologise.
Cancelled the podcast. But my point is that I have these conversations with you because I want to learn. So I will bounce stuff off because I know you will have a side that I don't think of immediately, and I want to have that side. I want to get that side before I make an opinion. I can't make an opinion on something without being informed.
Also, this is the thing as well. Like, one of the I know our issues with sort of really, like, I think of myself as a leftist liberal, but there is a faction of liberalism which is like, you know, almost like so ready to like attack people who have fallen short of those like PC parameters, that it's like, you know, it leaves very little room to maneuver, because like our intentions, but if we are ignorant or we do say something that's not PC or that's wrong, we're not ill-intentioned, and we do want to be, you know,
I think that's my goal for this. I've said to you,
that will definitely happen.
I said to you before, like, I would want this podcast for someone to watch it who maybe doesn't necessarily have a friend like we have in each other, who can have, because a lot of people go on Twitter and then you get attacked. There's no reasonable debate about anything.
That's the thing, you can't that's what I was saying. Well, this is why our friendship works. Because that will happen a lot, because my ADHD ass will just forget and
just trail off.
It takes me so long to tell a story sometimes, because I'll just go, I have to do this, and it's a good job actually that we're...
This is why I'm losing my hair. I've aged every time. Every time like, you have a conversation, my hairline drops back. Presidents that age 10 years and then like... No, because that's the thing you were saying about, like, you know, you have to debate and you have to see the opposite side of something to understand the fault, because you don't necessarily see, and you can't it leaves very little room for nuance if there's no opposition, because you can't. This is also why I hate, or I'm strongly opposed to labelling yourself. Like, you could consider yourself a leftist liberal, and I know you expanded on that and said
I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not a fucking Tory. I think I just wanted to be clear.
But you don't necessarily pigeonhole yourself into those things, and that's why I really hate everything has to have a label kind of thing. I hate that
the whole
thought process.
Yeah.
And that's what people really, I mean, again, you get really deep. It's like people really need something to attach themselves to feel like they have a voice in the world, or like something behind them.
That's because we live in a very meaningless society, Robert.
Yeah,
and I mean, if we're going to get very deep, I mean, it's because I just think there's such a fundamental disconnect with people, and like, and that's also something which is, you know, why do we need to have a purpose? You know, lots of indigenous cultures just believe that, like, the flowers grow, that people just exist, and it's a beautiful thing. But now, and this is one of the things which I'll probably talk about a lot, because it is the scourge of our very foundational being, and, you know, just every day I'm just reminded of, it's the root of all evil, and it's capitalism. Like, because if you're unemployed or you're not rich in this society, it's like that's where you've had every opportunity to. Why haven't you done it then? You know, like, it's so
stupid, because the people that say money doesn't make you happy are the people usually with money in the first place. Whereas I know, if I won the lottery, I would solve a lot of things immediately.
It blows my mind, right? I was actually saying this the other day to someone. I was like, it blows my mind that there are not just millionaires, but there are also billionaires. Like Jeff Bezos, who's, I don't know off the top of my head, like 177 billion or something. He could give everybody like 10 grand, and it wouldn't even make a dent. Like, he could give everybody in the world 10 grand.
Yeah.
And actually, the return on that, like, can you imagine how much more money Amazon would earn? I'm not going to talk about Amazon now, because I wanted to touch on the whole Bezos empire at some point.
I think, he
is creepy. I think he's the thing about him is, like, he's won capitalism, right? When you get to a certain point, they should just give you a badge and be like, well done, you've won it. There you go. Off you go.
I've just had a thought. So Bezos, Zuck, I'm just going to refer to Mark Zuckerberg as that all the time, the Zuck, and Elon, all balding men. So.
Oh no, Elon Musk has had hair.
Yeah, but he was balding, is what I was saying. So
you're saying that it's like a power move?
No, just that I'm, on my way, so I'm coming into. Oh,
you're coming into your prime.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
I mean, that's what they say, isn't it?
I'd like to put out, just for the record, I'm not really balding.
Your hairline.
My hairline has started. I've always had a very.
Getting very. Your forehead's just getting bigger.
I've always had a 5 head.
But it is. 5 head for like.
But it is.
6 head now, 7 head.
I think if this ever becomes a YouTube video. We actually put this.
Oh my god!
out.
Imagine if you ever
I'll
got
put a
enough
quick
money.
thing up of how long my
Do you
hair
think
was
if
before.
you ever had enough money, do you think you get a hair transplant?
Would I?
Yeah.
No.
What
I've
about
already done the bald
what about
thing now.
fancy wigs?
No. A toupee.
I know we've already talked about
I've already done the
you're
bald
too
thing
boring
now.
for this.
Yeah. I've already done the bald thing now, so I like.
You could always rent out the back of your. I've always said, I've got a lot of. I'm an only child. Let's just. So as you know, I've got a lot of weird illnesses bottlenecked down from either side of my family. So if I ever go bald because female pattern baldness is actually one of the ones in my. Apparently it's generational and it skips. My grandma had it.
Nice.
So it's my turn.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, I'll be with you soon.
Yeah.
So I was saying that I would probably rent out like the back of my head as like advertising space.
Yeah, there's
monetize it.
There is.
Here's me saying money is the root of all evil, but money does make the world go round. And what better than come see the hot dog stand and the lay-by.
Have you not seen there is a couple of people that got paid to have like brands tattooed on them?
No, I'm sure it was the other way around. They got the tattoo first, and then they were like, send me stuff.
Maybe you might be right.
Yeah.
I really want to think of what the one is. I'm sure there's one across somebody's forehead.
Yeah, Monster.
Is it Monster?
Yeah, look. Monster.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't even know. Apparently, loads of evangelical Americans were going nuts because this.
I've seen a video on that as well.
And as well as I don't know. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories because one day I'll have my. Oh, there's so many. Some of them though aren't conspiracy theories. They definitely happened.
Oh god.
MK Ultra, that happened.
Oh okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
Operation Paperclip, which I don't know. So after the Second World War. Do you know? Have we never talked about this?
I don't recognise the name. You might have mentioned
Operation
in
Paperclip
passing.
is basically I was going to say Werner Herzog, but different person, nice German, not the evil one.
This is also we're going to show the gap in our knowledge
this is where
of things.
We're not like Joe Rogan. We're like, Jamie, can you pull that up, please? Werner von Braun, who got the Americans into space, head Nazi scientist. Operation Paperclip. There is a very good book by a woman called Annie Jacobsen, literally called Operation Paperclip.
Right.
And it talks about the immediate fallout in 1945 when they were scrambling to get the Nazi scientists out of Germany because they thought the Soviets would get them, and obviously because it was we know. And the dark thing about obviously what the Nazis did, so like Mengele and stuff, they realised that the type of testing that they'd been doing on the Jews in the concentration camps, there would be no. Obviously, the Geneva Convention was passed very shortly afterwards. Geneva Convention? Is that the one? Yeah, that's one.
I know the one you're on about anyway, yeah.
But the data that they had collated over the period of, testing, they'd never, ever in, modern history be able to do that ever again. So
yeah, it's
really invaluable, but also really horrible.
I mean, it's kind of. I read some article years and years ago about progress. The Nazi doctors and scientists and stuff made because of essentially horrible human testing that just wouldn't be allowed.
War is gross.
Yeah, of course.
It's one of those things which it's horrors. Of the things that have been birthed from war, the technological advances. But actually, so I was going to say about
fucking money.
Yeah, literally, it's a profit machine.
Yeah.
But I was going to say about chemotherapy that was mustard gas.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they were being gassed in that was First World War, so they realised that people who'd been exposed to that were because of the radiation.
Mm-hmm. It's wild, yeah.
And then you get stuff like Gillies in the First World War as well, who did the pedicle things, the facial reconstruction, because they've been shelled to shit.
Yeah.
So much for not swearing in this. There were two things.
I think the swearing's fine. It's
but what
if I was going to say if we're going to put it on YouTube. I'll probably cut this anyway, but YouTube's so weird. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, and
too much time. That's why you need glasses.
Vastly too much time. I'd say either my phone or my PC. I'm gonna really hate listening back to all these voice cracks as well. Either my phone or PC is probably on YouTube all the time. It's probably on at least 8 hours a day for me on one device or another.
I've got a tiny human to be around.
Yeah. My point was, YouTube algorithm's really weird. Like, there's all kinds of conspiracies around, you can't swear in the first 30 seconds. And obviously, we're not going to get monetized anyway with some of the topics we put up.
I mean,
and that's not the point of this in the first place.
It's not. It's like you said, it's just if there's any reply guys out there who just feel like...
or someone that was like me during the pandemic.
It's just okay to not know shit and to just be like, what if? Because people are too afraid to even ask those questions because they're afraid of people coming for them. And that is not a healthy way of opening up. Like, discourse between two people should always be open enough to make mistakes and not be threatened by, like I said, because it's never between ourselves anyway, it's never ill-intentioned. Like, if we say something that's not right or accurate, it's
to me, it's a shame that I have to
at best it's negligent.
It's a shame that I have to feel like I have to have a safe person in you, an environment to be able to have conversations.
I'm definitely not a safe person to be around.
No,
in any sense of the word.
Yeah, but you can't have these kind of conversations with quote unquote normal friends. Do you know what I mean?
Thanks, Rob. Thanks very much, Rob. Thanks.
But
loud and clear.
It baffles me because even the universities are doing it really badly. Like, you have all these petitions to not allow controversial figures come and do speeches at the universities, and I'm like, this kind of the point. Like, you're an institute of learning and debate. How can you? What? You're not winning by preventing someone coming. You're winning by. The suppression of free
speech doesn't eliminate that idea from existing. If anything, it's completely pervasive an idea because it will push it underground, and so it's like when you silence something like that, it will manifest in horrible weird ways.
I mean, the whole university thing really baffles me to like petition and
because these are adults, these are young, these are people that are going to go out into the world and have careers very, very soon. So if they're not learning to understand something that is necessarily to listen to something that's uncomfortable, to try and understand why it is uncomfortable, what it is about it that they find wrong, not to just...
But even then, I would want to go to that debate or whatever, even if I don't say anything, to be like, yeah, okay, I don't agree with him at all, and just like clarify with that in my head. I don't even...
You need to... If you're going to hate something, you have to understand it. You can't just pretend
it's not even hate, because, well, it is hate, but in my head, I don't go to someone and think like, and hate them. I'm just like, yeah, that doesn't line up with what I think about at all, and even if you're like, yeah, that guy's an idiot.
I mean, you have to go armed with like a degree of, I think...
If you're going to debate, you have to go armed with something...
Well, no, I just mean, I was going to say with regards to some things, like, the Westboro Baptist Church or some shit, like, you'd have to be... There's such a level of patience because, like, I remember, for example, my mum arguing with me about the size of my own feet. And it's like, with some people, you just can't... She was like...
I mean,
there's
actual evidence attached to you.
Right? Like, I was like, do you want me to take off my shoe and look into my shoe? Like, so with people like that, like, it's just like the blinkers are on, and like, and it's so hard to, because you're coming at it from a place of compassion. That's why you've gone to that place, to understand. So you have to also employ such a level of patience that people, I don't think, like I said, people are so quick to want to take the moral high ground now, because people don't want to be seen as like, falling behind on like what's the right way to think, or and it's, but also there's a danger in just constantly being told this is the right thing to think, because it can change. Like, if you push something far enough left, this is anybody who knows. No, I'm laughing because I know what I've watched this from. This is from Peaky Blinders. And you've not seen it, so I could pass this off as some sort of lofty wisdom.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll happen a lot.
No, but he's basically saying if you go far enough left and far enough right, eventually it meets in the middle. Yeah. It's a circle.
Yeah.
And so you find common ground, like, and that's where it's like, that's where extremism is born. That's where, but to suppress it is, that's how school shooters are made. Just to be,
that's how we're going to end that topic.
I mean, not in England. No, they'd be like, at best, it would be like a school shanking. What?
In Scotland, maybe.
No.
Can I just alienate all Scottish people like that? That's just how... Yeah, that's just...
No! Why are you coming from the Scottish, man? I love the Scottish. Let's just be clear. Rob would never fare in Scotland. That's the reason why
Purple burglar alarm. That's the one that's the 3 words I can't say. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, there goes our 3 Scottish listeners. 3 is probably... Probably 3 is our total.
Yeah, total.
I know what Discordianism is.
We'll cut back to us now. I had to go blow my nose.
Oh no, because we were going to go talk about. I was going to talk about Discordianism because you were talking about Discord.
Oh
I don't know what Discord is. What's Discord?
Discord's just like a. How do I even describe what Discord is? How do you not know what Discord is?
I'm
You're
a
not online much anymore,
33-year-old single mother. Like, when am I going to?
Wait, you're not 33.
I'm near that. I'm 32.
Oh yeah, you are 32.
I round up because I'm near. I'm on the way.
Old.
Yeah, and plus, if you round up, sometimes when you say you're about, people are like, "Oh, really?" It's only
you do it for the right. Okay.
Not that ever happens. My bins go out more than I do.
That's that's true.
When was the last time I even went out? I don't know. I don't want to go out ever. No, thank you.
Discord started as a...
I don't want a Wikipedia page. I want a shortened version. I want a synopsis.
It's mainly a gaming thing, and
Is it like
you join
Twitch where you watch people?
No. It's where you join to talk to people in like the same group. What are they? Discord. They're not called
You're
groups.
really
Forums?
selling this to me.
I can't remember what the fucking word is. No. Server, Discord server, and you join a certain server, and there'll be people in that server.
Like a Habbo hotel room.
Sure. Do you really want to date yourself completely on this?
I'll start talking about Neopets. I'll go in further. I'll talk about Tamagotchis. I'll talk about.
I had a Tamagotchi.
No,
a real one. Yeah, my uncle.
You pegged as like a Tamagotchi guy.
My uncle bought one back when they first got big in like big Asian countries before they really came here.
My grandma bought on a flea market, and I was the first person in.
I was the only person I ever knew to have one.
That was actually not a bad high five considering how.
Yeah, because you
work. Your manicured nails.
No, I have to. Do you know? I'm going to admit this.
Your soft lady hands.
I do have soft.
You've never done
lady...
washing up.
My penis
fingers. On penis fingers.
Penis fingers. Yeah, pianist.
Oh right, okay. Oh yeah, put the Vaseline on and put your gloves on at night. Do you? Creepy. Being like hand model. Was it that film? Oh, is it Zoolander where he's like?
Oh yeah.
They are eerily soft.
What I was gonna say,
like ghost hands,
is I haven't cut my own fingernails in like forever. I bite them.
I was going to say, please, I really don't want to have some like sort of Game of Thrones, like you sat on your mum's like knee, like, Mummy, can you file my nails,
No, I've chewed them forever. Or you could get
like a nice lady in to come and do them. Have a little.
I would go get a manicure and stuff, but
what's holding you back?
Paying for a manicure.
Oh yeah, no, it's fucking expensive.
No, I chew them.
It's expensive.
But I let them grow. I'm not one of those chewers that's like...
it's delayed gratification for you.
No.
So you wait.
It's not even... No, but I don't do the nervous habit, people chew them right down and they get themselves really
I had
bad.
an ex-boyfriend who shall rename nameless. Yeah, he would bite his nails so like to the past the cuticle down to like the bed, like I was like, that must hurt.
My brother used to do it, and my parents, when he was a kid, my parents ended up buying that stuff that you put on.
He had that as well. He chewed right through that.
Yeah, my brother did the same. Yeah, but no.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Only chew mine when they need chewing, which one hand does.
I think I had that little like nail polish stuff, and then I just was like, ugh. So
I think it's the same stuff they paint on, or they make out of. So like Nintendo Switch cards.
Battery acid.
The actual like cards you put in that are small enough for like a kid to eat. The actual games you put in a Nintendo Switch.
Oh right, yeah.
They make them out of something that's meant to taste really bad. There was a whole thing a while back of people licking their Nintendo Switch games to try and taste them. They genuinely do, as far as I'm aware. I've never actually tried.
I don't know. People are so weird. We deserve it, I think, at this point as a species to be wiped out.
They put something in the plastic when they make them, when they mould the things, to make it taste bad, to try and prevent toddlers and kids from like eating them. Apparently, I've not actually tested this myself.
Have they seen toddlers? Do they know how toddlers
anything.
He literally found a piece of bread that had probably been there for about 3 weeks, and he was just chowing down, and I was like, nice. That's gross. Boosts his immune system, though, I imagine. There's only been one time he got proper sick, and he's resilient little.
I made that kind of scoffing weird because I had this conversation with a friend of mine who's chronically ill, and I was like, and she's a bit of a understandably a bit of a germaphobe as well, because and I was like, yes, like cause she gets kind of grossed out. I was like, yeah, picking your nose and eating it just boosts your immune system.
Oh, I was actually hanging out. Not that when I say, I mean, it's a good job I'm a woman, because it doesn't. This is where positive discrimination, does reverse prejudice, whatever you want to call it. I mean, because I was about to say, I was hanging out with a 3-year-old the other day. Doesn't really go down. I was going to say, you can't really say that. And she just fully started picking her nose and eating it. And I was like, gross. I was like, does that taste nice to you? And she was like, yeah. It tastes kind of sweet. And I was like, yuck.
Apparently it's been disproven. Yeah, like genuinely disproven. Like picking your nose and eating it's good for you. It's not good for you. Like even your immune system or anything. It's trying to get out.
Have you ever blown your nose when you've been to London? After you've been to London?
Oh yeah, it's gross. I worked in a tile store for a while, like selling bathroom tiles and stuff.
You?
Yeah.
How did I not know this about you?
This is our little gap of a couple of years straight out of college where we didn't really talk.
That must have been. I thought you worked at Halfords.
Halfords was right out of. No, it was during college. And then out of college afterwards, I had some office jobs, and then I worked at a tile store for a while. When I thought I was going to do an open uni degree, look how well that finished.
Okay. So tile store.
Yeah, obviously the dust in there is insane because it's full of all the like grout stuff and all the adhesive which comes as a powder, and then tiles themselves are made out of just compressed sand and stuff. And so the whole place is dust, and so I used to come out every day and just...
Aren't you asthmatic?
No, I'm not asthmatic.
I was going to say, because you would have fucking died.
I'm really lucky, I'm not
That surprises me about you. You look like, maybe you have...
I just look ill in all the ways.
No, you just look like you'd probably be a kid, like one of those kids with, because I went to school with you, so I should...
Yeah. No, our family's really lucky. I don't get, I'm not... What's the fucking term? The pollen stuff. Hayfever, that's the one. Hayfever, yeah. So we'll both do that a lot as well.
I think my family
of simple words.
my northern family, so half the stuff doesn't exist. Like you could come in with your leg broken and they'd be like, "You're fine, put a plaster on it, get up." So I actually think my dad has really bad hay fever. Like there's been a couple times when he's just, he's like, he's a 6'4" northern bloke. He's not just spontaneously weeping. It's like he's not suddenly overcome with emotion.
Suddenly in touch with that kind of, yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? But he would get like real bad, and then like his eyes would like stream, and he'd be like, "I've just got sun cream," and like he's so like against the fact that flowers could take a man like him down. Like he's like adamant that he doesn't have hay fever. Like so, it was just never spoken of in our family because like no, not flowers, no.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure because I used to get it like just running eyes.
Yeah, I really feel for people because it's just not a thing that's ever run in our family. Nobody's got hay fever. Nobody's got asthma.
Do you remember? Oh, I can't say their name, but someone that let us say that. Maybe I'll just mime it to you.
I'm so terrible at this. I can't live.
Okay, never mind. This is mad. Anyway, so this person, she at school when we were doing our GCSEs or maybe A levels, she got like mitigating circumstances because she was like, I got really bad hay fever, and that's not mocking people with really bad hay fever, but come on. That's a stretch, if you ask me.
Full A's. Just give her A's. All A's.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's just, like, how is that mitigating circumstances? Anyway, I get it. It can be real bad. You sneeze all the time, but, you can sneeze your way through the exam, surely.
Also,
A's
really,
all round.
Even really bad hay fever is manageable, as far as I'm aware.
Take an antihistamine, you're well away. Come on.
Yeah. I'm not aware of anyone.
She was a
having
proper wet wipe, though.
Well, yeah.
I will tell you who it is.
I think I've worked out who you were saying now.
Just for that, I love that.
Yeah, no, I don't know anyone with really bad Hayfever, but I imagine you can at least manage it for like an hour for an exam, and even then, you just you can manage your way through.
I just want to say now, if we do ever amass any, like maybe the two people that are listening are probably your friend and my friend.
Or me and you when I watch it, once it goes up.
Do you remember the rumour in our school that I'm pretty sure every other school had circulating around the country that someone a couple of years before killed themselves in the exam hall with a pencil, putting it up there? Yes, thank you.
That's one of those ubiquitous.
That's one of those,
rumours
around,
everywhere. Yeah, no, it's one of those weird. I'm trying to think of what's the other one that came up the other day of like a childhood rumour that the whole thingy removing his ribs so he could suck his own dick.
Oh, Marilyn Manson. Do you know what? Given the news lately, that piece of shit, it wouldn't surprise me.
I take it you're a complete. I've not read enough about what's happening with him, and
I actually don't know whether he's going to go to jail. I was meaning to look this up.
The last I saw is. I think for some reason I might follow him on Instagram.
I think I had done.
And he posted, you know how these celebs post like
all my childhood heroes are either fucking paedophiles or dead now. Like it's savage. Like
you know how these celebrities post like the first page of their legal thing that's going on to like try and update. It was that kind of thing, and there's
a film about it actually, which I've been meaning to watch. About
I think it was
that
a defamation
trial.
Suit. Or something, because he was saying everything that's been said against him isn't true. And all that.
Well, he would say that, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
but
that's true.
there's a big group of women, and there's a film that I've been meaning to watch because I watched the testimony of one of the victims, and she was just awful, and it really doesn't. You know, it's all well and good going, but his celebrity girlfriends, they've never said anything, and I'm like, yeah, because
they're not going to.
Yeah,
they've got careers to try and hold.
But
on
also,
to
like, if you're, if your thing is that you're playing on a power dynamic and you're dating someone who's also high profile, you're not going to get your kicks out of doing anything like that because you're, it's equal. So if he's going after people who are fans or vulnerable or whatever it might be.
It's really grey, kind of.
I don't
weird.
Anyway, that piece of shit, I'm not even going to waste the fucking. Yeah, no.
It's super, super kind of grey area. We've been going 40 minutes almost already.
I know, but that's why I said I was like, what if we have awkward silences? But then if we have awkward silences, they're probably there for a good reason because I don't think we ever really. Which is funny because I was going to say ever really shut up. I will trail off as well or just not finish my sentences, and it's one of the most annoying things I can ever do.
Usually I can pick up on the track you're on anyway, though. And
I'll just plain forget.
Continue.
Like I'm like, oh, shiny.
It's definitely. I'm both going to talk about getting old. It's definitely a thing that I'm noticing more.
I'm
it's
fucked.
so bad.
I'm fucked. I'm literally gonna have like my granddad had dementia. Like we would go and pick him up. He had Alzheimer's and dementia, which I'm sure I used to think I'm sure were the same things, but then I did also think that like limes were unripe lemons. Honestly, until I was like 21, and it was Clint who was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, like if you have a lime, leave
it, and it becomes a lemon."
Nothing, but yeah, so
he left it to grow on the tree.
Because you get lemons that have a bit of green on them, so that's fine. But yeah, so I thought Alzheimer's and dementia were the same thing, but he apparently had both. So we would go and like pick him up. And so going back to the weird thing, he would like speak to kids because it was an old nursing home, like out in Livingston. Old. And he'd be like describing these kids there, like bow tie hats, buckled shoes, like old dress, like. It's
really horrible watching. That's not such a horrible story, but my granddad had dementia as well, and I was thinking that it got really horrible because he's still thinking like his mother's alive.
Oh no, that was really you hear dark stories
it gets
about
really sad.
I remember that film Deep Blue Sea, where the whole point of that film where they're genetically modifying those sharks is because they're trying to find a cure for like Alzheimer's. Honestly, I think about this film a lot. Have you never? I could think about it because there's one thing in it where it's like LL Cool J's in
film,
it.
How does that pass? How does anyone?
It is a cult classic film.
Right. Okay.
they have these big ass sharks in this thing, and they've like genetically modified them so they're huge, and then they escape, and then they just start chasing humans down. Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
Right.
It's like his pre-roll to snakes on a plane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's done.
And no spoilers
so many
here, guys.
things.
If you want to go watch it, I was going to say some spoilers there, but I
don't care. I'm going to spoil stuff if I talk about it.
You will do no such thing. On this, I'll slap the shit out of you. I don't condone domestic violence in any way, shape, or form. But I will hit you. Violence is not the answer. I will Smith you. Will Smith you.
Anyone watching can see I've really well resigned myself to this.
Have you gone to like India now? We said we weren't going to talk about like current stuff, but that's wild.
Whatever.
I mean, why do we care really? I think that's a bigger question.
All I care about is the memes. The memes were amazing. The memes are
one
amazing.
Of the blessing things about the blessings and
celebrity lifestyle and drama and stuff. The only thing I care about is the memes.
Why do we care? Why do we care so much about these celebrities and we put them on a pedestal? Like, who really gives?
I honestly don't think I put any celebrity on any kind of pedestal. Like, I don't think any celebrity I can think of that because I don't worship any celebrities.
I like Mary Beard. She's cool.
Who's that?
The old lady. Well, she's got long grey hair and she talks about ancient Romans.
Oh, okay.
She's kind of cool. No, she's cool. She's very cool. I'm not going to say kind of cool. I'm not going to dumb her down. I'm not in the business of dumbing people's light down.
No,
she's great.
But
she's a celebrity, I suppose.
Yeah.
But she's not going to go to the Oscars, you know.
But I think. Well, this is my cynical, obviously, side and whatever. Is everyone's got the potential in them to be a complete dickhead and arsehole.
Oh, yeah.
So when it happens, I'm like, yep.
I mean, I think the thing about fame in terms of like the actors that we all like think, their job is literally pretending to be other people. So whatever they present in the world, and it's bonkers that there's so much like this is, I suppose, one of the things I was talking about earlier. Like there's so much distraction from like what we like. I'm not going to get too deep. That's like the first one, but I always think of it like. My anxiety, my existential anxiety is like you're born into this vehicle that is travelling at some sort of unmaintainable velocity, and you know, the only thing you do know is that the only certainty is death. And you look around and you're like, okay, so you're here. Do you know how to work this thing? Do you know what we're doing here? And they're like, no. Well, do you know how to steer it or, control it? No. Well, should we figure that out? No, we're just going to keep putting more people in. Just going to keep piling them all in.
And this, it kind of goes back to the thing we touched on earlier. It's like everyone needing to find like that's why people label themselves, because they need to find a meaning in their own life and attach themselves to some sort of bit out there. But I feel like that's why religion is kind of a thing.
Well, it has been
because people need something to live for and hope. And
that's why people in the war still they had Deirdre, who they met once at a dance, and they're like, I'll cling on to you, and it wasn't necessarily that they'd go back and marry Deirdre, and they probably did, but you know what I mean, it was just that hope is a very powerful concept, and I think fundamentally humans need that.
So thing I've literally just come up with in my head, but this kind of goes off. Do you think religion came about once your children were safer from immediately dying? Because your point in life, and the point in any animal's life, is to keep your offspring alive, to pass on half of your genetics, keep half your genetics going. And once the human beings got to a point where their offspring were relatively safe, that they know that they're going to survive to become their own adults, other things have to start coming in to have give you a meaning to. But when you say
religion, I mean,
religion's just kind of one. It's quite broad. But
I was going to say, because religion is, to me, is different to spirituality, because in my mind, spirituality has existed. Since the beginning of sitting around a fire, and
even cavemen had some.
We've always sort of looked as well externally, which is why I think we've had this discussion before. There's that word luminosity, and it means to gaze up in wonder. And it's I was like, you don't have that same fascination when you're looking at the fucking carpet, do you? Or like, you know, looking at a wall. Like, there is something fundamentally which I think in ourselves, like, this is what my argument against. I think everybody is a little bit spiritual because you have an intuition. You can go into a room and be like, oh, I don't like that.
You feel weird.
Because you're a vibrational being. Like, you are a human. And that's where religion is interesting. Because, like, in the West, religion is different to Eastern religions, where they sort of, and the science is still very much incorporated. So, like, they acknowledge that, you know, the chakras are very much, you know, and in the West, I just skirted around that very loosely. I was like, you know, it's all these things which are maybe sort of looked at in the West, which are very much revered in the East as like real fundamental parts of, like, you know, you have centers. So I would argue that when you feel certain emotions, you feel them in those chakras. So, you know, you feel them, you know, you feel very powerful excitement in your chest, or you feel like, oh, anxiety in your chest. You feel like sex time in your, what's called mula bandha, and that's your, obviously your stomach. When you feel nervous, you feel sick, or your heart, you feel love, you know, or when you feel upset, you have that like lump in your throat, and these are all different centers. So like religion and spirituality are so married, but then also religion, I think, became a very powerful concept for control, and also explanation at a time when there was no scientific method. There was no. So they would be, you know, they'd fucking think, oh, the sun's going down. Oh my god, it's never going to come back up.
It's innate in human beings to have to make sense of something you can't make sense of.
Of course, and like to think that everything that you ever relied on being like sun, like we've always had this very sun-centered worship. It's always been very sun-centered.
But that's because that's kind of obvious. It feeds life. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. In the same way that it's sort of instinctive, you think it's kind of obvious. I think that spiritual element, which is, I think it's the precursor to religion. I think that is what has always existed, and religion has become so bastardized for profit, for gain, for control. Yeah. Like, I think the two things are so now, so it's weird. It's like paradoxical because they're so married and they're so diametrically opposed as well. Like, religion is a business now.
Yeah, the initial thing was just interesting for me to think, because like animals, their sole reason in life is to have offspring of some sort and bring them up, and then.
So you're saying religion just existed like as a extension of natural.
Once we weren't necessarily needed for as long to ensure our offspring would survive, you know, that didn't become our be all end all then, is to have offspring and have them survive us.
So you think that it was like, I mean, the first real proper acknowledgement of like afterlife or anything really is Egypt, I think, to my mind. Obviously you've got things prior to that like Mesopotamia, Sumeria and the like, but there's nothing that visually depicts or sort of loosely explains in the way that the sort of Egyptian, I don't know what you want to call it, ancient Egyptian. No.
I don't know.
They were the first people that had the spirituality sort of element attached to like the concept of like afterlife, and that sort of culture at that time, there was still the threat of infant death. There was they lived in the desert. There was the crocodiles were trying to kill you.
Yeah.
There were scorpions, there were snakes. There was the weather. There was plague. There was drought. There was all sorts of shit that still wanted to kill you.
I'm sure my off the cuff kind of thought is not necessarily.
But then that's the point of that. This is why we're doing it, right? Because
I just thought it was kind of interesting to think about, because I imagine it's partly as well just the fact that we've got more developed brains than most animals. That is just.
Well, this is I've always thought like it's quite an arrogant assumption to think that humans are the only things with a concept of of afterwards.
On this planet, or of.
You're getting awfully like twirly-whirly on this planet.
I didn't know if that's where you were going.
No,
you mean
like,
of the animals that we know to exist? Do you think there's a potential that
no, like I'm saying,
dogs
like
or
it's
something
they're like
could have a concept of an afterlife?
Yeah, they're like fucking humans.
Some dogs don't have the concept of their own reflection in the mirror.
Right, but they were probably like a Catholic priest in another life, or like a Tory, and they probably come back as like a.
I need to watch that. There's that one. Well, there's a couple of videos I want to watch because I can't remember of when they put the mirror in the jungle and there's like a gorilla goes up to it and all the reactions, because I can't remember which animals had the concept of self, because I'm sure there is like a list that.
Oh, I went to Pennywell Farm the other week and it said that pigs are the third most intelligent animals behind. It was
dolphins.
Dolphins were second, pigs were third.
Wait, is that intelligence or is that brain to body size?
Oh, they were about to race some piglets, Rob. They didn't go into the fucking actual. Like, I think there's
specifics. There's two lists.
6-year-old deer.
There's two. I think there's two lists of like there's an intelligence quota list of animals,
put it this way,
there's
I'm
a
sure if they
brain
had
to body
thumbs,
size
we'd
one.
see what work they could do.
They're meant to be really good pets.
Yeah. Do you remember when everybody was buying micro pigs? There's no such thing as micro pigs.
Don't do that. Anyone watching?
No, but there's no such thing as a micro pig. They are just.
No, yeah, I know. That's half the reason why I'm saying. But also, don't do that, because all you're doing is turning them into what dogs are now, which a lot of them are horribly bred to look a certain way and gives them horrible illnesses. Yeah.
Oh no, I know, sure. I know.
But you know what I'm saying?
No, I remember when
pigs could easily if pigs became domesticated like dogs, that's what would end up happening. Is they would breed them into having issues like dogs have issues.
Men would just end up fucking them.
For fuck's sake.
Left alone. No, I was reading an article the other week and it was like, because of COVID and everything being locked down, there was a man in Germany and all of a sudden he noticed that his sheep were suddenly like shying away from human contact. So he put a CCTV camera in his shed, and it said that like a string of like local men were queuing up and like shagging his sheep.
What do you mean a string queuing up?
Well, there's nothing open. There's no brothels. The prostitutes were all indoors.
This is what Discord servers are for, by the way. It's for these guys to get together and work.
I mean, I honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. Going back to what you were saying about, religion and instinct, or I don't know what we're talking about. I never know really. I think that's the point of this podcast. I never really know what we're talking about.
No. If we do put this on video, the reason I'm looking over here is the audio settings.
Oh yeah, obviously this is a super professional job.
Look really
highly paid professional backdrop.
It looks like it might be a bit low. Who knows? I won't find out until I get it up and edit through it. Don't mess my audio up right at the end, please. I really don't want to have to deal with that.
Knock it over. I was just gonna maybe
whisper into it, some sort of.
I'm going to whisper.
Horrible ASMR.
Oh, I'd be a creepy. I could do like.
Have you ever seen the ASMR girls?
No,
you don't watch like Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that.
No, again, I have a small child that I'm trying to
but
kill.
Even it's been a thing for a couple of years.
Raising him. Do you know how difficult that is as well? Not to. Just trying to keep myself alive at times is a task, but trying to keep someone else who has no concept of well, I mean, I say he has no concept of danger.
He's incredibly intelligent.
I know, and I would say that maybe someone swapped him in the hospital, but I literally clung on to him that evening. Blows my mind that I just grew a human. To anybody who grew a human out there, what the fuck?
Props.
Crazy.
Not sure I'd want to do it myself.
I just keep thinking like I didn't go to the shop and like I just sat there and it just happened. And then all of a sudden like he was like hiccup. I remember actually there was one time and it was bonkers. As I said, I was very, very sick, so most of the time I would spend when I got really, really sick just chill in the bath. Don't ask me why, it would just help sometimes.
With it full of water or just in the
bath? I just imagine it's full of baked beans. Just comic relief stuff. Yeah, just sit in an empty bath. No, it's a nice hot bath. And like, if you're...
Super weird, just quickly, my bathroom is where I decompress. Sometimes I will get...
What do you do there? Just lock yourself in and shout?
No. When I used to come home from work...
Do you have a bath?
No, we haven't got... I don't have a bath in the bathroom I use. My mum's got one there on
So when you say decompress, please elaborate, please.
I would just go in and stand... Usually I just stand
and scream
for quite a long time. If I'm
Show
not,
your head some more.
if I don't use the toilet, it's where I would go to decompress. I'd like go home, wash my hands or whatever. But I would stand in there for quite a while. Even
How many times do you wash your hands, Rob?
No, I like come home from work, so whatever. Even if I'm on my phone and watching something.
Do you sit down and poo, or you just sit down? Do you sit?
I'll sit.
Oh, that's where when you say decompress, you mean you sit down and poo for a long time.
That's not
news
that's
to
how
me,
it
Rob.
started. That's how it started. You'd sit and poo for ages and be on your phone for way too long.
It's your hiding place. It's not
yeah,
secret
but it's the white noise. I think it's the white noise of the extractor fan going and everything and being enclosed. Is my.
To make you feel like you're in the womb again.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, sorry, you were saying you were in the bath.
I was in the bath, yeah, so it was bonkers because, like if you're in the bath, I don't know if are you a bath guy? Bath guy?
No.
Anyway.
I used to be.
So, shower stuff, whatever, bath stuff is on the side, and if it gets relatively wet, just fucking straight into the bath. And that happens a lot, but, I've never had a child in there to...
Right.
Shampoo bottle plopped off the side. Plopped. I've been saying it a lot lately. Plopped is a really funny word.
Right. Okay.
Sorry. Fell into the bath, and Lugh, who obviously I didn't know that was his name at the time. It's weird because you got a name at the thing, and you're like, "What's your name?" So. Can
we touch on the origin of the name because I feel like I know where it's come from.
Yes, in a second. But what I was going to say is he literally jumped. In my stomach.
And really? Did it hit your stomach?
No.
Oh, it just landed next to you.
Right next to him.
Right.
But it went kadoosh into the water.
Right.
And he must have been asleep. But it was just, and I was like, whoa, did he jump then? Because he literally went like that.
Oh,
and
weird.
It was so weird. I've got the only stretch mark I've got is
where he was fighting his way to get out.
It was where his foot was right up.
Always kicking the same place.
Yeah, his foot.
So
and he was a big baby, and he is a long boy. He is a long boy. What were you going to say?
Origin of Lugh. I feel like I know where it's come from.
Do you? I didn't.
I feel like I want to say it's just short for Lucifer.
Lucifer, no. I wanted to call, I wanted Lucian.
Right, yeah.
Lucifer, by the way, in Latin just means light. So
I knew it wasn't always going to be just like a.
But no, I didn't want to call. Well, Scott said it was really pretentious, and actually, I didn't want to be like Lucian in the pub.
Yeah.
Lucian, especially if because one of the things I dreaded about being a parent anyway is going to all those groups and then being like, oh yes, little Sebastian's only grade 8 on piano and he was only 8 months old. So I never wanted to be like one of those mums anyway.
Yeah.
But he is objectively he's smart kid.
Yeah. He is.
So if
also,
you was called Lucian, I feel like that would be even worse. I'd be like, Lucian's already, So Lugh,
I just want to put it out there quickly. It's fine for parents to say their kid is smart. I feel like there's a real stigma about admitting your own kid is smart.
No,
you're bragging about them or something.
Everybody's proud of their kids, right? But
Actually, I think that's the thing in general.
Nobody wants a dick measuring contest.
No, I know that's true. I think more my problem with the smart thing is admitting that you're smart or is still seen as very.
I think the most important thing these days is to be smart. It's not to be funny.
It's all good with these gym bros flexing how big their biceps are, but you're not allowed to.
When everybody looks the same, what does it boil down to? It boils down to because everybody will start to look the same. It will be one uniformed person.
I feel like it should be more acceptable to admit that you know a lot about something or do you know what I mean? But it's fine for everyone to flash around how much money they've got or how big their pecs are or whatever.
But also it's really because intelligence is subjective, right?
That is true.
You can think of the people that we knew at school who were,
I feel like
we would probably sneer at and be like, oh, they're pretty thick. And actually, they're earning more money now because they're physically skilled. They've got
I still think that's smart.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't consider.
They've got. What I'm saying is they've got plumbers and electricians, so they've got some. They're skilled. I have no skills.
Yeah, no.
If you put me on a desert island, I would just walk into the sea.
Yeah, Oh no, 100%.
Or I would have enough intelligence to know that I would weight myself down, so I didn't obviously float.
But also,
I would walk into the sea.
Even just like all the like kind of jobs that everyone puts down. Like, all right, so look at even the big thing with like OnlyFans models, the ones that are successful.
Tell me about these OnlyFans.
No, my point is because they're looked down on because they're just, if I had tits, I'd sell them as well.
No, but actually, I know so many.
They run legitimate. The ones that are successful spend a lot of time learning how to do photography, PR, all kinds of shit, and they're much better at it than I'd ever be.
I just need to say that sex work on a completely other level. Not only is it empowering for the women who are taking control of their business, their bodies, where other people, you know, might take a cut or a percentage if they were being managed by a model agency or whatever. It's actually, it takes a lot of fucking patience to deal with as many men as they probably do. I could not even begin to fucking have to deal with, like, one of the reasons, you know, apart from I have not to, you know, just don't think I'd have anything to offer if I had an OnlyFans, apart from me just sitting in my pants and crying and eating Cheetos.
There's definitely a kink for that somewhere.
I mean, yeah,
someone's got that.
There is, what's that level? Not level 42. What is it? Rule 42.
Yeah.
If it exists.
Rule 34.
Rule 34. That's it.
42 is the answer to everything. That's why you.
Oh, I was thinking.
I used to get those.
But also, there's that song, isn't it? Level 42, the Chinese way.
I don't know.
But it's a song. I'm thinking of Alan Partridge.
Point was, there's a kink for everything. Anyone could. But the point is, you'd have to sell that.
I was thinking my niche would be, I'd sit in a beekeeper's outfit and I would just be like, I'd be the worst sort of person. I'd be like, remember your favourite childhood animal? Think of it. Are they dead now? Just really, really, you know, get into their...
But the point is, these girls will have to sell that. They have to sell that. Well, there's thousands of girls. The ones that are successful are smart. Like, they are businesswomen and
even
men.
If they're not, you know, this is what we're saying though, smartness is subjective, like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, yeah.
What we would
but
think
also,
of,
this is
well,
why
it's like,
I think...
you know, the trope about, like, country folk, but they still know how to till the land, and you
yeah.
know, it's very agrarian, and this is what
wait till the nuclear... Wait till everyone gets nuked and we're all trying to grow our own fucking potatoes.
Oh my god, no, we wouldn't last two.
No.
I've got a lot of seeds already. I'm ready.
You stocked up. You've got a pantry full of...
My mum took the idea, ran with it, and now she's got a garden full of lovely veg.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'll save her a fortune. Vegetables are so expensive. My dad is literally stocked up on vegetable. Worst kind of person. If the apocalypse did come, he'd be... Because this is what we're saying about, like, classism, capitalism. It's the people who've got the money who get there first and leave none for the rest. Yeah. So it's like, well, I've got the money to buy 52 bottles of vegetable oil. He hasn't bought that many, which I'm surprised about. But he has bought like 4.
There is always, at least as far before COVID happened, there was always a lot of food here, and I was like,
oh, that's because he doesn't like to throw stuff out.
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
would
no,
go through the cupboards when he was like away. We like so.
It was always just wild to me. I was always
the story. My dad ate 14-year-old ribs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think most families have, like, you know, either a shit fridge or a freezer in their garage that is like an alcohol fridge, or this has got an assorted variety of old meats in it. Because for some reason for as long as I've been there, he's like, if there's a sale on or like a reduced leg of lamb, he's like, right, I've got to buy it, and it's like a compulsion for him. Like the war is coming, like it's always war mentality, and it's always meat. It's so weird. So
I'm surprised he's not dug like an ice. I'm surprised he's not
sold.
Salt cellar, that's the one.
So he, literally, I was like, they are 2003. They went out of date, and they say used by 2000. The minute freezer they'll be right, and I was like, it's a fucking chest freezer, not a time capsule. Like, what are you doing? And he went, just whack them in the microwave. And honest to God, he put them in the microwave.
Oh.
He doesn't like throwing away stuff. So when you say there's a lot of food here, it's all from like 2000. We found some fucking the old school labels on there. I mean, if anyone's into vintage jam jars. I'm
horrible at eating food that's getting to its best before.
Yeah, I remember you being weird about that when we used to play that.
And I was but I'm still weird about it now. Is there'll be something in the fridge and I'll be like, oh, it needs to be eaten by tomorrow, or whatever. And it generally doesn't.
But you're a real fussy eater, though.
I'm not horribly fussy. I'm not horribly fussy.
No, I mean, you don't have to sit on the top of like 57 mattresses and like eat with a silver spoon.
I'm really not. You make me out worse. No, I'm not. I'm not that fussy. I just know what I don't like. Generally.
Everything.
No. Not even true.
I knew a girl actually who I met her when she'd come to Exeter for university, and the list of stuff that she basically.
I think everyone knows a person that's.
No, but this was like mental. She'd never had like noodles and peanut butter and like.
No, never tried.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
She'd never had a cup of tea. Like it was bizarre.
Was she from money?
No.
Oh, really? But usually,
no, and
the
but
one
she wasn't,
I knew of
the
like
weird thing
that
was
from
like
money.
she wasn't. I'm not saying it because she was poor.
Because it's
like,
peasants' food.
No, she wasn't.
Like,
honestly, I've known some people who have the real certain, and it's like, why does food have to have like a class connotation?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love? I had egg, chips, and beans for dinner, as you know.
Yeah.
Solid meal there.
Also, you think like Japan runs on like thingy noodles. Like instant noodles.
Oh, ramen parts.
Yeah, but like instant ones. They're not all up themselves about it's got to be fresh. They'll all just eat instant noodles in whatever form it comes. Whereas in this country, it's like live off
so
9p
drunk. I went to a
noodles.
sushi place in Cardiff. I remembered this the other day. I was so drunk, and I've been to this sushi place, and I was on the train home. I was going back to Merthyr. And I was so pissed that I was trying to eat the udon noodles, which was like a ramen udon.
Udon are the ones I like the most.
But it wasn't, it was a soup. Like,
Right,
so
yeah.
I was trying to eat them, but with my hands out of the little pot. Just,
right.
yeah.
As you do. Just
So,
with your hands.
I could have gone for some instant noodles then, though. That
Instant
would be
noodles
much
are great.
more convenient and classy.
I'm sure I will touch on Japan a lot during this because
You love Japan.
I do love Japan. It's funny because everyone who loves Japan like that and is into Japanese culture, a lot of them only ever see the like good bits. Apparently living there's really annoying and difficult because there's so many rules for everything. Everything takes, if you can't like read and write and like speak proper Japanese, it's incredibly difficult to live there even short term because everything you do has to go through all their councils. And and as far as they look like they're a futuristic nation, every business uses fax machines for everything.
Oh, I actually read that they've also every computerized record has to have like a paper trail.
Yeah. They're so far back in the future, like so far in the past with some of their stuff because stuff takes so long to change there.
Well, mind you,
they still use cash for everything as well. You can't go into a corner store and use your card. You just can't.
Apparently,
you have to carry cash everywhere.
Apparently in New Zealand you can't, or is it New Zealand or Australia? You can't bank transfer over weekends. I mean, we're saying this as British, but we are.
Yeah, we're not much better. But that's what I'm saying.
If a bus turned up just once on time.
Oh yeah, every country has got its own shit points as well.
Let's not start with Britain though, shall we? Let's not go for Japan when we're in a position.
No, I'm just saying because it comes up a lot. Like Japan's like this amazing country.
What do you think the most annoying thing about living in Britain right now is? And not just don't just say like, because I would obviously be glib and be like the Tories.
See, I'm not into the politics, which is a thing that's going to be.
You're part of the problem.
It'll be difficult for us to ever discuss because I'm just not
aware.
I'm just not aware of politics or anything that goes on.
And you can vote against the Tories.
I do vote. And I go and vote. I just don't. Until that like half hour before I actually go and put my tick against someone. I just don't look at anything politics at all. Really, I don't watch the news.
No, I don't watch the news.
I don't watch television.
What's the point?
I can't remember the last time I sat in front of actual television.
Okay, but what do you think the most annoying thing about?
I don't know. You put me right on the spot. I just don't hate anything that much. Like I just don't.
That surprises me because you whine so much.
oh yeah. This is the thing. Is everyone thinks it's quite funny. Someone sent me a emote thing of what I look like when anyone mentions anything, and it's just like some.
It's this.
Yeah, literally. That's literally.
That's what it's.
Because I'm well known for being like super negative or cynical.
You are really a bundle of joy. This is, and I say that.
It's just a lot of stuff doesn't bother me, or I'm just like.
You are a nihilist in the purest of forms. I think.
Yeah, I just don't.
You just don't care.
I just don't care that much, which is also a symptom of having long-term depression, I guess. But
But also you're a pragmatist, so I suppose you know that
shit
actually
happens.
nothing really matters.
Like, but also shit happens, and you kind of just have to deal with shit as it happens.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't. This country, for everything that and yeah, your point was, I whine a lot because it's my go-to response. I just like to whine. I mean, I am British. That's the point. But I can't. There's nothing specifically that really gets me going about Britain. I don't know. You've obviously got something in mind.
No, I was just going to say, because we were talking about transport, and I was like, the cost of transport, I think, for me, is fucking stupid.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
generally, I would say, if I was going to be more generalised, I would say the cost of fucking everything in Britain is so... But the fact that things are privatised, and stuff like... So our national grid has been sold off to an Australian company now that bankrupted. They were in charge of something like that. This is where I should do my research, but I didn't even know that I was going to be talking
No, I don't think.
Google it. That's your homework, kids.
Yeah, everything we say, just Google it.
Yeah, just Google it. The side note, Google. I think the cost of things is just
true.
But then that goes back to my original point, which like I said, I'll be talking about a lot, which is classism.
Yeah, I think the transport thing you were saying has never really bothered me because we live out in the country.
Yeah, but you've always drove.
Yes, that's the other thing I was going to bring up is I like driving, so I would choose to drive, and I don't drink. So even if I had, which I don't, even if I had friends
There's
that
no
drank a
limit
lot,
on the amount of monsters you can smash and drive, is there?
I've cut down a lot on monsters actually. I think I only
What's
have
the
one.
most amount of monsters you've drunk in a day?
Probably 4.
What?
I'd say like 4.
Did you shit your pants?
No, I don't think because.
You must have shit your pants though, afterwards.
No, probably 3. I don't think I've ever drunk 4.
I remember once when I was like 14, and we used to meet outside Tesco, and we used to, it was like my space was big, and we used to just, and we used to buy like a can of,
Red Bull.
It was like that Kick, and it was like the bottle, it wasn't the cans.
Oh,
and I remember drinking like a whole one of them to myself, and I remember being in like H&M, and my pupils felt like they were vibrating, and I was like, ah. And I remember getting home and being like all jittery and weird.
It's really bad for you.
Caffeine is gross.
Oh no, monsters in general and Red Bull. Caffeine is bad in excess, obviously. Like everything's bad in excess. I think my caffeine tolerance is probably quite high.
I thought that you can drink enough. Actually, I remember being at uni and we did like the coffee challenge where we made coffee out in a saucepan and see how many cups of coffee.
No, I can drink a Red Bull and go to sleep. I do that.
Freak.
I will finish a can of Monster and go to bed and fall asleep right away.
Monster.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I was looking for the clock, but I took it out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it would have sounded like the beginning of like a weird 80s action film.
I think the laptop fan fucking going for it might jumbo jet anyway.
It'll be a nice, relaxing background noise.
I think we should probably call it.
I mean, it would be weird to
just
sort of wind down when we've this is, I guess, the point.
Whether this episode ever gets released or not, we'll find out.
We would just waffle on for... Well, it's not really waffling on.
It'll be slightly more structured, the next ones. We will have an overarching topic we want to talk about, I think.
Well, I'm just going to come to you with what if weird shit that... You will be like,
and I have to fend for myself and try and not get everyone shouting at me in the comments or wherever because I'm going to say something completely un-PC.
No, because the part of it is that neither of us know. Like
that was a point we made at the start. Is I'd want to learn.
Just to give you an example of how much I'm just a chronic put my foot in my mouth. I had a friend whose father suddenly passed away. And I went over and I was like, just make sure, if you have just some music or, just some stupid films or whatever on in the background, just try not to be in silence. I don't know. I've been really lucky in my life to not have lost anybody so close to me. Mm. So any advice that you try and give, I think I was much younger. So I think at this point in my life, I just know to shut up and just, fucking not try and solve everything.
We'll get onto that at some point.
So I was like, actually I watched a film. It was alright. You could just put something stupid on it, and I couldn't remember what it was called. And then I remembered that it was called Daddy's Home, and I went,
for fuck's sake.
Daddy's Home.
Oh my god.
Honestly, Rob, like if I had £1 for every time I did something fucking stupid like that, I'd be a very rich woman. But yeah, so I think that's part of the reason why we've done this, isn't it? So...
But the point is, you're bringing a topic, and we will discuss, and I will probably say something maybe that's somewhat offensive, or one of us will say. But the point is,
it'll probably. Let's be honest.
Either you will teach me, oh no, that's they don't. That's not how it's talked about now.
I'm definitely not the.
But I mean, if you're bringing a topic, you probably know. I have friends who are
really like, who I would look to and be like, that's someone who I aspire to be like in terms of their moral standpoint, or their activism, or like their advocacy for things, because they're not armchair activists. I'm very much I have no other choice at the moment, because I have a child tethered to me at all times, and only because it's 11 o'clock on a Sunday evening.
We've been here, yeah.
He's awake.
Yeah, but no, I mean, yeah. So it'll be more like one of us brings the other a topic. We're definitely not going to end up strictly adhering to that topic the whole time. That's just not going to happen.
It won't be like we've covered many things, many things.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't even know, because I'll be honest, I haven't really listened to podcasts, which I probably shouldn't say, because we're making one.
I feel like it's more authentic. There's no curating of this podcast. It's just two dudes talking. Two dudes. And you're going to be like, oh, I saw this thing this week, or I was looking at this thing this week.
Yeah, it will be, and I guess it's because...
I might not go into it completely blind. You might tell me, maybe, if I'm lucky, I might actually be able to know what we're going to talk about. I think there'll be at least, but I think part of it is going to be definitely that you are of a different, probably on a different standpoint. Yeah. Which is the point, is you want someone else's... view that's somewhat opposed. I don't like using opposed, but different to yours in the way you think about things. Which is why I
don't think about things like I think a normal person does most of the time. I was actually thinking I would be a fantastic rich person. Not because I think I'd be quite benevolent and kind, but also just I think it was because I was driving back the other day and I saw an empty hearse, and I thought, fucking, if I was rich, I'd rent that bastard out all the time, and then I'd be waiting till I was at the traffic lights. Like, I'd make sure that me and the driver were like, had a buzzer or some shit so he could vibrate me, so there were loads of cars around, and I'd kick the fuck out the coffin and be like, I'm alive!
You just want money to do stupid shit.
Yeah, why not? Make people laugh.
Real life bits.
Oh, that'd be funny. Funny as fuck if I was rich.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. I guess.
It's going to be that weird sign off where it's like when you do a voicemail.
Super weird.
When you have to leave a voicemail, you're like,
leave a message after the beep.
Oh, so yeah, hope you're okay. Bye then. And you're like, I just rang to cancel a hair.
I'm just going to cut us off at some random point in this and just be like, yeah, bye, cool. Yeah. We might have a Twitter.
I need a wink.
Maybe.
That's what it should be.
That's the one.